we're trying to read these mic for the video feed. Sorry, we've got our millions at home watching around the world. All right, you missed the best part, guys, at home. Sorry. The rest is downhill from here. All right, I wrote this up for you guys in the essence of time. I'm going to try to rip through this. Somebody mentioned speed something earlier. This is going to be speed presenting. I get a lot of questions. Being a professional mascot is kind of a boutique industry. There's only about 125 guys nationally and a few women that do this professionally. So common questions that I get asked, I boil it down to 10 with one-word answers. 1, is it hot in there? Yes. 2, is it hard not to talk? No. Do you sweat a lot? Yes. Can I have some free tickets? No. What is your real job? This. How much money do you make? Lots. How does someone get into your line of work? College. How do you see? Eyes. How do you pee? Urinal. Are you a girl or boy in there? Urinal. I have 3 goals today. First goal, I want to entertain you and inspire you with a story or 2 from my career. Second goal, I want to inspire and motivate you towards organ donation registration and sharing it with those in your circle. And thirdly, I want to educate you and invite you to a personal one-on-one conversation about mineral rights. First, I'm not going to do any of the good stuff that's in that bio about my career. It was fun. The one thing that I do want to tell you, and it is apropos for this because I heard all of these new entrepreneurs coming up here, is I want to tell you that I started this job in 1995. I did it for 21 years until 2016. And at 21 years old, I was only making $20,000 a year, working 50 hours a week. I left college at the University of Delaware for this job and moved to a state where I knew no one, had no family, nothing. And it was a pretty tough time. I was making about $8 an hour is what it worked out to be. I was very discontent. When I said to my boss, who was the director of marketing at the time, you know, I really feel like you guys took advantage of me, you're underpaying me, I'm really working hard, the crowd seems to like what I'm doing, even though we did have a very popular mascot at the time, Turbo, who was the best at what he did, slam dunking, acrobatic stuff. I was more of the comedy, sketch comedy, worked the crowd stuff. We worked in tandem for 8 years together. And he just told me, my boss, said, listen, if you think you're ever going to make more than $40,000 a year working for this company, the Houston Rockets as a mascot, you're crazy and you should quit now. Well, that was very discouraging at first, but I simply put that out of my head, said to myself, that's not the case. There's people that do better than that in this craft, and I had big dreams for this. And after 21 years, I got to perform in 12 countries. I did 2,100 school shows, wrote 7 children's books, sponsorships, and a whole host of other things that were adding up to about 10 years into my career to the last 11 of it. I made between $250,000 and $300,000 a year. I tell you that not to boast, but I tell you that to dream big and work hard. Don't let anybody set limitations on you on whatever it is that you're doing. Anybody that stepped up to this mic that has a new business, it can be as big and as great as you want. And don't let anybody tell you otherwise. Now, that's the good stuff. Let's get into one good story about the bad stuff, because that's the gritty stuff. And this is stuff I can laugh about now, but I promise you I wasn't laughing when it happened. One of the biggest blunders of my career was back in the late 90s, we had a t-shirt gun. And if you're really paying attention at Rockets games, we didn't have a t-shirt gun for 20 years until the team sold to Tillman Fertitta. I was out there shooting this t-shirt gun that we affectionately called the BFG. And since we're in the house of the Lord, I'll let you figure out what that acronym means yourself. The gun was so powerful, it was 6 foot long, nitrogen tanks on my back. We could only shoot it to the 2nd level because it was too powerful to shoot to the 1st level. So we got all these people down low that were paying the most money in the lower level. They were like, hey, we're going to free t-shirts for us. So we introduced the power dancers to the floor to throw to them. Well, inevitably, one of the power dancers is looking this way. Who wants a t-shirt? Running this way, runs right in the back of me. You gotta remember, I'm only seeing out of this little bear mouth right here. Knocks me to my knees, sets off the gun, and I don't know where the t-shirt went. Well, timeout's not over, so I jump up, And even though inside I'm horrified, mortified, angry, I still got that stupid painted on bear ring on my face. Who wants another t-shirt? Finish the timeout, I get in the back. I'm dropping every expletive known in the book to my assistant saying, what the heck happened there? And he simply says, man, it's worse than you think. And right there, he says, you just shot Catino Mobley in the chest. You were 20 feet from the huddle. Rudy was talking to the team. Catino Mobley was our starting forward, and he's out of the game. Not 2 seconds later, coming around the corner is 2 of our trainers carrying Catino like he's a wounded soldier, and he's muttering the F word with bear. F word, bear. Over and over. Guy didn't talk to me for 2 years. Got written up in the Chronicle the next day by Jonathan Fagan, our beat writer. I go to my normal watering hole where I was friends with Rudy, our coach, and man, I walked in there. He's sitting at the end of the bar at Keely's Irish Pub, and he says, geez, Bear, like I didn't have enough trouble as is going into the playoffs. I've got my mascot shooting my starting forward and dropping him out of the game. So no t-shirt gun for 20 years, and we recovered from it, but it was not my shining moment. Best moment of my career. I'm going to let this video start. Can we go to the next slide real quick? And in the essence of time, we're going to skip the bloopers reel. Let's skip that. It's more, I know, but you guys got to get out of here at 9:05.
Y'all mind if we go over just a little bit today?
All right. I appreciate y'all. Come back one. There's 10 of my other greatest dumb mess ups. Despite a couple of those groin shots you saw in there, you might be surprised to know that I have 2 sets of twins from 2 different marriages because God cursed me. Blessed me. God blessed me. So those are some of the bloopers. Best moment of my career. In 2012, this is what led up to it. It wasn't the best moment. But in 2012, my dad had been suffering from idiopathic pulmonary fibrosis, which is an unknown scarring of the lungs with no known cause. Some people get it, diagnosed with it, live with it in 6 months and pass away. Some people get it, diagnosed and live with it 20 years. He'd been living with it for about 4 years. And in February of 2012, he couldn't even get through a sentence. I was out there with my first set of twins. It always feels weird to say that, first set of twins. having lunch with me and my mother. He couldn't even get through a sentence. I was about to go on an 8-day trip around the country, performing at various NBA arenas. I canceled the trip, and I said, you know, I think we got to get you to the hospital. He said, no, I'm going to go in 2 weeks to see if I'm eligible for a lung transplant. And I said, I'm not worried about 2 weeks. I think you're going to die in the next 7 days. So I rushed him to the hospital, and in fact, the doctor said he has about 3 months to live at best if he doesn't get a transplant. A week later, he got on the transplant list, and then a week after that, on Valentine's Day 2012, he got his second chance at life and got a double lung transplant from a young man who tragically passed in Dallas named Ian Heidemann, a 22-year-old young man who 3 years prior, because of his forward-thinking selflessness, registered to be an organ donor. Saved 5 lives and enhanced the lives of 8 others with ligaments and skin grafts and things like that. So my dad is still alive today and cranky, so he's doing well. I mean, he always likes to, thank you. He's with my mom, and they get to babysit, thank goodness, the 2 sets of twins that I have exactly half the week. I wear a lot of these green bracelets on my wrist every day I leave the house. My goal is to give every single one out by the end of the day. People ask, hey, what are all those green bracelets? That's my hook. I take one off, put it on the wrist, I give them my 30-second speech about why they should be an organ donor. I'm going to let this next video do some of the talking for me. I'm sorry, can you go back real quick? So, just to give you, I always get a little verklempt when I see this picture. On the left there, we've become good friends. After a year, I serve on the board at the Todd Kramnik Foundation and LifeGift. LifeGift is the organ procurement organization that facilitates the over 1,200 life-saving organ transplants in the greater Houston area. So they match donors with recipients. And then after a year of the grieving period, they allow you to send the donor family a letter through them as an intermediary, me, now that I'm on LifeGift's board. And if the family of the donor wants to meet, they facilitate that meeting. This is the first meeting. And that there on the left is Ian Heidemann's father, Rob Heidemann. I know him very well. He stays at my house every year with his wife, Janice. And they are listening to their son's lungs inside of my father's chest. And that was our first meeting. It was a surreal experience, and it always kind of really drives home the gift of life for me. Okay, we can go on with the video now.
Today's a special day. It's the second consecutive year that I've run the Houston Half Marathon in full costume as Clutch for organ donation awareness. My father's life was saved by an organ donor on February 15th, 2012 that saved his life. He was suffering from idiopathic pulmonary fibrosis, which is a non-lifestyle related lung disease, a hardening of the lungs, and it was compounded by a case of pneumonia, and I rushed him to the hospital on February 2nd, 2012. The doctors basically said he has about 3 months to live if he doesn't get a transplant. And a week later, he was on the transplant list, and a week later after that, he got the transplant that saved his life. So that's what today's about. Today's about creating the biggest spectacle in a fun, silly, goofy way with a 6'8", 92-inch waist teddy bear that's going to run 13.1 miles, and he's going to stand out in the crowd, and people are going to turn their heads and go, what? This is ridiculous. This is amazing. This is silly. And then when they do turn their heads, they're going to see the band across my forehead that has DonateLifeTexas.org on it, and they're going to see the message on my t-shirt, the 6XL that it is, along with the rest of my team that's running with me, that says Team Clutch. I run for organ donation awareness. DonateLifeTexas.org. Become an organ donor today. Today is one piece of my quest to try to convince as many people in our country to say yes to organ donation as possible. There's 120,000 people on the transplant waiting list. 18 people die every single day in our country that otherwise would have been saved if there was enough available organs and people registered to be organ donors. It's something that everybody can participate in. It's something that everybody might benefit at one point in their life. And it only takes about 60 seconds to go online and sign up. Most of the people, it's just an awareness issue, and it's about taking the time to do it. Every major world religion supports organ donation, and we're going to make a difference.
Thank you. So this cause has become kind of like a religion for me. It saved my dad's life, obviously. I serve for the Todd Kravitz Foundation. Their sole goal is to get everybody to say yes to organ donation, awareness, and registration. They are an official Run for the Reason Houston Marathon charity. It only takes 60 seconds. You go to tkfoundation.org. That's tkfoundation.org. You can register right now. One of the most humbling and shameful experiences of my life when my dad was getting his transplant. In Methodist Hospital downtown, there was a table there that said Life Gift. I didn't know exactly what Life Gift was. I went up, I said, how can I help? I'm the mascot for the Rockets. I can speak for you, I can give you money, I can fundraise for you, whatever. They said, that'd be great, we'll take all three. Are you an organ donor? I said, of course. Can we see your license? Pulled out my license. I did not have the heart. In fact, I was not an organ donor. What I realized in that moment was there was an awareness issue. And what they explained to me was one of these great government bureaucracy things that just makes your mind go, what? Until 2009, if you registered for your license in Texas at the DMV and checked organ donor, but also they asked you at the bottom, can we share your information with other organizations, like your address or whatever, and you think junk mail, right? And you check no. Well, guess what? That negated them sharing your fact that you're an organ donor with the Donate Life Texas Registry. That's why in 2009, there was only 2.9 million Texans on the registry, even though there's 26 million Texans. Right now, we have over 11 million registered donors. 54% of adults in Texas are donors, and I realized it was an awareness issue. So, even if you don't have it on your license for whatever reason, it takes you 60 seconds. You go online, tkfoundation.org, you register, you're good to go. It saved my dad's life. One of the things that I like to say is, please don't take your organs to heaven. Heaven knows we need them here. One day the life that is saved might be yours. Can we go to that next slide, please? So, what am I doing now? This is the part where I have materials out front. I have a whole bunch of these wristbands for Donate Life. They're all free. Everything on my table out front is free. There's DVDs at Clutch, a limited amount of those. So grab them as soon as you get up. There's storybooks for those of you that have kids that I wrote when I was Clutch. The wristbands, there's pens. There's information on the company that I'm the CMO for now, and it is Spear Minerals. A lot of people in Texas are familiar with this. A lot of you aren't. It is real property. It is real subsurface property. If you are looking to diversify away from Wall Street. Some people think that I'm in the oil and gas business. I like to think that I'm in the financial services business, and I am helping people diversify their retirement and or create and preserve generational wealth. So, if you're like me, I've been investing since 1995 when I got my first job and came to Houston. In 2008, I was dismayed when I lost 40% of it when the market crashed. I've been dismayed over the last year watching the downturns. This is real property. Our worst month in COVID, people got an annualized 2% return. Not a great, huge return, but they still made money and they didn't go into the negative. It's 1031 exchange eligible, which means it's real property. If you own a commercial real estate building, if you own a rental property, an apartment complex, you sell it and you want to put that money into something else so that you don't have to pay the capital gains, that's what a 1031 exchange is. This is real property. It is subsurface property, so you do not own the actual surface. A lot of people ask, if I buy into this, can I go hunt? No, you cannot hunt. That is somebody else's ranch. We own all the mineral rights to the core of the earth. Mineral rights are sold at different levels. Everything that we own in Spear is to the core of the earth. Our portfolio is right outside of College Station, Texas. The biggest thing that I would want you to remember from this is a way to diversify away from Wall Street, and it is a passive real estate investment. A lot of the people that buy from us own rental properties, and what they're tired of is the 10% vacancy rate between renters, the fixing the carpets, the handyman expenses, the fixing things on their own, the liability. You have none of that with mineral rights. It's basically like a triple net lease, if you're familiar with that, or like a REIT. You have no liability, You're not tied to cost or expenses at all. You simply get the checks. Cash flows monthly, and there's a 15% depletion allowance. Not depreciation, which if we depreciate this building over 10 years to zero, that's the floor. Depletion is for perpetuity, forever, for life. So if I make $10,000 off my investment, I only pay federal income taxes of $8,500. That's my sales pitch. There's more information. It is free for not even our specific portfolio, but introduction to oil and gas mineral rights ownership out front. Now, I come bearing gifts as well, not only the stuff out front, but I got question from my running career. Let's see. Can anybody tell me how long exactly a half marathon is? 13.1 is correct. Of course, it's the sports guy from ESPN. This here is a coffee table book for people of Memorial Park. George Herbert Walker Bush is featured in there, as well as myself, right? And the page before him, and my running time there. And that's when we did the marathon and the other stuff. Here, second, we've got a oil flask, an oil drum. Disclaimer, I would not suggest drinking all of this in one setting. This is not the type size of flash you're going to sneak into Toyota Center or anything like that. But this is from our company, JBL Energy Partners and Spear Minerals. How much is the depletion allowance that you don't have to pay federal income taxes for? Who said that? All right, Mayor. Everybody's done the mayor's house for a party or his office afterwards. Guys, I know we ran a little over on time. I want to thank you for having me out today. I appreciate it.
All right, guys, this is Robert. Thank you so much, Robert. So thinking outside the box, inside the circle of trust, I can say, honestly, you're probably one of the few people that I know that have a lot of things outside the box. Your hands at everything. We love you kind of enduring our chamber to what you do, and you know that giving that donor. I just checked my license and I see the little heart in the lower hand corner there. So no, not at all. Only probably would like my and just a coffee cup and might hold as much as that barrel. God bless you and all the hard work you do. My license? Give me that license back. All right. Hey, it's been a lot of fun. I'm glad everybody stuck around a little bit. Not too far over. Thank you, Robert. And he drove a long way to get here from the Woodlands, so I appreciate that. Hey, I want to remind everybody, since we kind of want a health kick here, and we got holistic medicine, we got Dr. Beer.